I'm Trey Guillotine, and today I'm talking about World of Warcraft Legion. Let's geek out. I have way too many great things to say about World of Warcraft Legion, World of Warcraft's newest expansion, so I'm just going to kind of talk about just a few key things. First off, I would just like to personally thank Blizzard and everyone on the Blizzard team working on World of Warcraft. Thank you so much for, by far, the smoothest launch day I have ever experienced. I stayed up on launch night till 2 a.m. when it was going to be available. It launched about 10 minutes early. There were no disconnects. There was no lag. There was no realm restarts. Nothing. Everything just worked perfectly. Really, the only problem I had playing it on launch night, like right after it launched, was that there were so many other people online that it was hard to tag different mobs to get them because they were already tagged by another player. And I think that's a good problem to have. I mean, it's not a great problem for me, but it's one I dealt with. But for World of Warcraft and for Blizzard, I think having that many players on such a smooth launch night is a great problem to have. Later on that night, there were some DDoS attacks, but even then, I had maybe a couple minutes of lag. I restarted the game, and then after that, it worked smoothly. So thank you so much, Blizzard, for just the smoothest launch day experience I've ever experienced. It was fantastic. I thank you. Thank you for that. And also, thank you for just giving us a great expansion in Legion. Now, yes, it's only a couple weeks out. We haven't had any new content patches or anything like that. It's still pretty new. But everything I've played so far in the four leveling zones of Asuna, Val'sharah, High Mountain, and Stormheim, as well as into Suramar. I'm still kind of questing through Suramar. There's a lot to do there after you hit max level. There's still a lot to do, which I really love, so thank you for that. But everything I've seen in the questing and in the artifact quests and the class halls and the different changes to the classes, I think has been fantastic. One thing that I was really surprised to see in Legion, and I'm really glad that I saw it, is Blizzard using past lore and making it relevant again in a lot of the artifact quests and a lot of the class quests. Instead of it just staying in the Broken Isles where the bulk of the game takes place, it's taking you to different locations throughout Azeroth and even just throughout the game itself, onto Outland or Draenor. It's taking you to a lot of different places, like the Eastern Plague Lands, like the Black Temple for Demon Hunters, like Pandaria for some of the monk quests. It's taking you to all these different places that for a while, because that part of the story is done, we probably haven't really been to that much, and it's making those places relevant again, and it's also making relevant old characters that we haven't seen in a while, which I really love. I'm glad that Blizzard is utilizing this past lore of World of Warcraft, there's just a huge pool of lore that has been built over the years for Warcraft. I'm so glad that they're kind of dipping back into it and reminding us that things are there, making things relevant again as we go into the future of the expansion and the future of Azeroth. I really appreciate that, and I'm really enjoying that. If I did have one problem with World of Warcraft Legion, it's with the artifact weapons themselves and the fact of their appearance. Now, the way the artifact weapons work is they're these amazing weapons, that are established in Warcraft lore, like the Ashbringer for paladins or the Doomhammer for shamans, and they're given to the player character, who the player character then becomes the leader of their respective factions, of their class factions. They get a class hall. They become the go-to guy, the leader of that class. Which is a great thing for an individual player, but in a game of World of Warcraft where there are millions of other players around you, where every other paladin is going to have the Ashbringer and every other paladin is going to be the High Lord of the paladin class, it can kind of run into the problem of when everyone is unique, no one is. Which isn't so much like a huge deal, it's just kind of how you perceive it as you're playing it, but it kind of takes away from that individuality of you being the leader when, your paladin has the Ashbringer and then this other paladin has the Ashbringer. Now, you do have some appearance changes. Actually, you have quite a few appearance changes. You have, I think, 24 different appearances for each of the weapons, and each of the weapons are individual for each spec of that class, but you don't get a lot of the appearance changes until well into after you hit max level at 110, which I think is kind of a bummer, because leveling through the zones from 100 to 110, you can't really change the way it looks. You can't really even get to the quests to change the way it looks, and some of them, like for instance, some of them I'm not really a fan of how the original the original look of the weapon is, so I want to get one of the later on appearances. Or I just want to have, like, you know, my individual weapon. So if I run into another player who has the same weapon, it'll still be different. It'll still feel different. It's not really an issue. It's just something that I wish we had more of in the beginning, instead of it basically all pretty much being, for the most of it, being after you hit max level. Which I love that there is stuff to do after you hit max level, because that was a problem in Warlords of Draenor, is once you hit max level, there wasn't a whole lot else to do. But I understand their decision to make the appearance changes something you kind of have to unlock by playing different aspects of the game. You have to play PvP to get some aspects, you have to do dungeons, you have to do all these different aspects and playstyles of the game to unlock them, and it really kind of makes you play a well-rounded game. And I think that's been one of the strengths of Legion so far, is the fact that it motivates you to want to try different aspects of the game you haven't done before, especially with the different classes. I have about 20 different alts. So I had 4 rogues, so for the most part I played combat because that was the spec that I really enjoyed. Well, now that I have different artifact weapons for the different specs for assassination and subtlety, and now the new combat spec of outlaw, I really wanted to try them out to get those weapons, to do those quests, and to try a different playstyle, and I've really enjoyed it. I've done those for all of my classes. We have multiples of one class. I'll, you know, do my best to make sure that each one is a different spec. And it's making you play, it's making you kind of get outside of your comfort zone and play something new, play a new way, a new way to play a class that you're already kind of established with, and I really appreciate that. I think it's a great idea, and I think that's a great way to go about making this game fresh, you know, as well as putting in all of this new content, which so far has been fantastic, but also kind of revamping old content and motivating you to try different styles of playing than you're used to, and see, you know, you might try something new and you may love it, you might try something new and you hate it, but at least you tried it and you found out. So I really appreciate that. Legion has been fantastic so far. Thank you, Blizzard, so much for just this great expansion that we've been waiting for so long, and we finally got it, and it's great. I love that you're utilizing the old lore and the old characters and places from the game, making them relevant again. I love the motivation to play different areas of the game and play different specs and try new things out. And as much as I would love more customization options in the beginning of the game, I'm still happy with the customization options that I'm working towards getting. I think it'll be even that more fulfilling when I do achieve them and get those customization items. What do you think of World of Warcraft Legion? Let me know in the comments, and follow me on all the internets. Share the video around so others can join the conversation, and make sure you check out geek.com to find my content and other creators' content.